Howdy everyone, Andy here from Team Completed It. Just wanted to give a big shout out to our supporters and sponsors over at My Hero UK. My Hero UK is a one-stop shop app for all your comic book needs. Buy, sell, trade, amazing service over at My Hero UK. Head on over to your app store, type in My Hero UK, download the app, and the boys will take care of the rest. If you want to check them out, go to www.myherouk.co.uk. Thanks for the support, boys, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to Completed It. It's Monday, so we all know what that means. It's the phrase that is taking the world by storm, even if Sash still doesn't believe me. It is Marvelous Monday. And this is where we're gonna end Marvelous Mondays, kind of, because we're gonna get into a lot of Phase 4, some of Phase 5. I know Sash has some really strong views on Black Widow, so we gotta let him rant about that. But thanks everyone for joining. I'm your host, Andy Burrows. And as you can see in the top left hand side of my screen is my good friend there, my co host, the man that knows everything Marvel. Sash, how are you, bro?
I'm all good, man. I don't know whether I know everything Marvel, but I know a bit.
I feel like you're looking at the wall, but also looking at like, I feel like your head is like sideways.
Yeah, because that's where my screen is.
Oh, don't mind where your camera is then.
No.
Yeah, okay, oh fuck that then. Oh, who needs to? Yeah, don't look at the camera. And as you can see at the bottom, it seems to be when we talk Marvel and when Neil is not around, we get in a great substitute teacher. My good friend Ken. How are you, brother?
I'm very well. I'm very well. It's good to be back. And yeah, like I say, love talking Marvel. Phase 4 is a lot. What I would say is if you want us to do every movie in Phase 4, you need to sound off in the comments because Andy's not
Oh,
convinced.
yeah,
And
It's
he's
I'm
not
down
not
to you.
convinced. And
convinced,
I
man.
want to rant individually on each
It's,
of these
it's
things.
These
But
down to
like
you.
I know Sash wants to do like a whole episode on Black Widow just so he can
yeah,
rant about
Mhm.
how much he hates that movie. Ken, obviously, just getting to you quickly, mate. We didn't have you on for Endgame, unfortunately.
Mm.
So let's get your thoughts now. I know you wanted to talk to us about Endgame. That was our last Marvelous Monday. Liked it? Were you a fan of the way it was, say, quote unquote, finished that
Hmm.
phase of the mark? It's something like we mentioned. Well, I don't know if you saw the episode. We were
I
like,
did.
this was it. This was like the Super Bowl. This was the FA Cup final. This
Yes.
was what they'd been building up to
Yeah.
for all them number of years. In just briefly, in your opinion, my man, did they get Endgame right?
For me, I think they nailed it. They did. It was 20 years of stories coming together. And I think as a two-parter, it works exceptionally well. I think as a movie, I think I prefer Infinity War. But Endgame is just class. And that final act it's a cinema experience I'll never forget. I was with my friends at Waterloo IMAX to try to see on the biggest screen. And those moments when Caps picks up Mjolnir and, the fight with Thanos and, the portals open and Anya left. And I still get emotional watching that now.
They've
You
become
know what I mean?
iconic now, haven't they? They've become
Yeah,
iconic.
it's just incredible. And, it seems crazy, but when I was in the moment, you're forgetting these characters could come back. Do you
Mm.
know what I mean? It's just like, I didn't even occur to me, oh, yes, they're going to be bringing all these people back. And the fact they're all on screen at the same time, you had the appearance by Captain Marvel. I think unfortunately what's happened with Endgame is people have nitpicked it over the years since, and they've gone back and tried to say Captain Marvel should have done this, or they should have done this with the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff like that. It's a story, bro. It's fine. They were still trying to figure things out, and not all the characters had been written yet. Like we said before, Captain Marvel was in this before our own movie,
Mhm.
so certain things hadn't been established yet. So no, I know a lot of people had an issue with the women collective in it as well. Well, the women characters, me, I didn't bother me. No, I didn't think at the time, oh, they're pandering. I was like, that's a really powerful image, and what a great moment for young girls and boys to see that. So, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought it was a great way to cap. And you know what? I know we've had some gems since, but I would have been happy if it just finished there and we just had some extra side movies and stuff from Marvel since then,
Okay.
because we are going to talk about Phase 4 and a lot of that. And you know, it we could have almost done with a reset at that point. But where we're heading now with Doomsday and Secret Wars, it could be worth the payoff. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it might be worth some of the stuff that we sat through on phase four and phase
Yeah.
five. But yeah, we'll get into it. No, good to get your thoughts, my man. Sash, obviously, Endgame's done. It's finished. Then next movie that comes out is obviously Spider-Man: No Way Home. Sash, we know Spider-Man's your guy. Pretty much all of us love. I don't think there's not a Marvel fan out there that doesn't love Spider-Man. The third highest grossing Marvel movie of all time is Spider-Man: No Way Home, grossing 1.9 billion worldwide, gents. Sash, do you think this movie it would have always done well, but obviously being the first movie out after Endgame, everyone's thinking it was kind of like, do you know when you went into Endgame, you wanted to see what happened post snap? Obviously, I
Hmm.
know you had Ant-Man in between Infinity Wars and Endgame, and they gave
Hmm.
us a little bit at the end of Ant-Man
Hmm.
with them being inside the quantum realm, etc., etc. But this was the first time where you're thinking, what the fuck are Marvel going to do now? Because everything we've ever known, like Ken just said, for the 20 odd years that we've been watching from Iron Man all the way through to Endgame, it's all we'd ever known as, all right, we know we're getting to here. But when you go in and see Spider-Man: No Way Home, you're like, you they'd released a few things, but we didn't really know what direction Marvel were going in. You're like, well, it's quote unquote, its leader
It's
is
Far
dead.
From Home, right? Far
Yeah,
From
far
Home.
from yes, yeah. So
Mm.
its leader's gone. Iron Man's dead, and you're thinking, all right, Captain America's not really Captain America anymore. So, Sash, what did you think when you saw the first Spider-Man movie after Endgame? Did you go in there with any trepidation? Were you like, okay, let's see now, let's see what Marvel are about? Because a lot of people are like, this is going to be interesting because as fans, we're like, whoo, all we've ever known for 20 or like God knows how many years it's been is Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, blah blah blah. And we knew that these guys were having their individual movies, and you get an Avengers movie, and then you get this. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, hang on a minute, we're not gonna be getting that. I like we sitting now in 2026, knowing what we're getting with the new Avengers movie coming out at the end of the year. But what were your thoughts post Endgame and going into Spider-Man, Sash?
Okay, so there's a whole other thing as well, it being a Spider-Man movie in all of itself,
Hmm.
regardless of the Avengers, what we're coming off of. I wasn't thinking, how do we top this? I was like, first and foremost, how's it going to be a Spider-Man movie by itself? All right. That's what it should be because it's an individual movie. Not forget, I couldn't care less or give a flying fuck about the connectivity with this shit, so long as the individual
But
movie
that's
exists.
synonymous to Marvel, though, isn't it? They
Yeah,
connect to
it's
like
cool.
you know.
It's cool. But you got to understand, Spider-Man's always been small fry. All of this big stuff are for the Avengers stuff. You know what I mean? And
Bring it back down.
yeah, you got to scale it back down to the kid in the city, and that's what they did with this, which is what I wanted. But going into this, we had the trailers and stuff, and they gave us Mysterio. Now, Mysterio, before going into this, was probably one of the shittest characters. I'll say it straight up. And Sony themselves, if you look at Vulture, another shit character, okay, they obviously there's the rights issue kind of thing. So they
Mm.
kept trying to trip over Marvel by giving them the worst characters. Because Sony, if Sony had made a Spider-Man movie, if this was Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man universe, these are not the villains they would have given them.
Yeah,
They would have
true.
given them the top tier villains like
Yeah.
Green Goblin, Venom, because they wanted Marvel to fail, but Marvel know their characters, and they did such a good job with Homecoming. They're like, well, let's give them fucking Mysterio. They're never going to make a
I
good
know. It
movie out
still
of
pisses me off
Mysterio.
that I haven't seen Venom and
And
Spider-Man in a movie
and
together.
so there's that anticipate. I remember going, oh, Mysterio. I don't know about this because I can't visualize him being cool the way his origin is in the comics and the cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to reinvent that. Okay. And then my whole thing is in the comics, in the first issue that he ever shows up in the Spider-Man cartoon, he's a hero. He
Hmm.
portrays himself as a hero, and then lo and behold, he's actually a villain. But and I always felt that would be the case with it. And I thought if they ever deviate with that, it would be wrong. But because we've just unearthed multiverse shit,
Hmm.
That being the buzzword. And in the trailer, they mentioned that he's from another Earth. I
Yeah.
had friends of mine that aren't film fans. They're like, no, they're doing it where he's from another Earth. So he's actually a good guy and he's not the
Hmm.
bad guy and stuff. And deep down, I was like, no, no. The Spider-Man fanboy in me was like, no, he's the bad guy. He's not a good
The
guy.
comic book
But then
guy
I
and
was
you
like,
come out.
but then I was like, no, you know what? I think it's a rope a dope. I think they're going to show us this and then he's going to do that. Going into the movie, I was so convinced with that over every fanboy theory on the internet that when I watched the film, Jake Gyllenhaal convinced me so well that he was from a different Earth and that he was a good guy. In the movie, I was like, oh shit, he's actually from a different Earth. Okay, they're actually doing it. Wow, okay, I'm wrong. I'm
Like,
wrong
like printing
until
money,
he
bro.
gets what he wants. The minute he gets those shades, the minute he takes, the minute Peter Parker's gone, I was like, Raw fucking foe. And when they showed how intricate it was, how it connected to Civil War, how I love the fact they got a producer that's no longer with them because they got when they were doing Iron Man 1, some of the cast were people that worked on the
Yeah.
film. Like
Yeah.
they'd get a cameraman, be an extra. So they got like one of the producers, he wore a lab coat and he was just there in front of Jeff Bridges getting yelled at. And they got this guy back to play that role just to make they've been concocting this for like if it was from day one. I lost
Hmm.
my mind was cooked. Okay, I was mind blown. I was like, this is the greatest fucking thing ever. This character, this is the best version of Mysterio I've ever seen. Fuck yeah. You know how much I like this movie? All right. My favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. In fact, my favorite comic book movie, and this is gonna annoy a lot of people, okay, because everyone has their favorites, but I'm a Spider-Man guy. So my favorite comic book movie of all time, in terms of superheroes, the superhero genre, okay, because I could say Sin City and other stuff, that's graphic novels, but superheroes in spandex. Spider-Man's my guy. Was the best Spider-Man film? In my personal opinion, it's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2. All right. Me and Ken, we saw that at the premiere. Whole other story.
That is
Not
a
going to
good
go
shout.
into
No,
it,
I'll
but
give you
like
that. That is a good shout.
that's my favorite Spider-Man film of all time. This movie, Far From Home, is my second favorite Spider-Man film of all time. Okay, even though because, like I said, I want my Spider-Man without the belt. It's nice to have
Hmm.
crossovers and stuff, but I like it when you strip my man down, where it's just him solving his shit, and that's what this was. And what was even better about this, they gave you so much new shit. Like you see Spider-Man outside of New York. You know what I mean? You see him go international. You know what I mean?
My
It
man's
was
in
like,
London.
yeah, he goes on a school trip. He's trying to woo the girl. Ned as his wingman cracked me up no end. It
They're
was
on the
the
London Eye.
perfect Spider-Man film. Like literally the perfect Spider-Man film
I
Marvel
drive
has
past
ever
the
done.
London Eye most Mondays, and I drive the
Yeah,
guy mental that I work with. I'm like, Spider-Man's been up there, and he
yeah.
just looks.
I
He
was,
just looks.
I,
When like, people that don't like comic book movies, he just gives me the look. It's not
yeah,
real. It's not real, Andy. I'm like, Spider-Man's.
yeah,
But that blew
but
up, and he's like, shut up,
yeah,
Boris.
but but yeah, no, seriously, love it,
Yeah,
love this one. And to be quite honest, a very, very strong start to Phase 4
yeah.
because after
Actually,
this
it's the
film,
final film of Phase
Phase
3.
four, yeah, last
is it
film.
the final film of Phase
It's
3?
Yeah,
officially the
Oh,
officially.
last film
okay.
of Phase
It
three.
was
Yeah.
originally supposed to be the first film of Phase 4, but then they tweaked things around. And because of the launch of Disney Plus and what they were planning on doing with WandaVision and stuff, they
Hmm.
actually moved it and made it as part of
Ah,
Phase 3. So
okay.
it's dealing with the fallout of, like you say, the snap.
Hmm.
So it focuses on how all that worked, and they kind of answer some questions of what happened when people disappeared.
Yeah.
And it was about him getting over losing his mentor,
Yeah.
which is basically the version we see of him instead of it being Uncle Ben, right?
Hmm.
Because we never see him have to deal with that. So this was kind of that story replacement and adjacent, but it was such a bigger person to have to live up to, because Uncle Ben is his uncle and the love he has for him, but this person just saved the universe, multiple
Hmm.
universes. So, to having to live up to that mentor, I thought they delivered that really, really well.
Mm.
The
Ken,
cherry on
when
top,
they,
though,
what do you reckon
I have to
when they
segue. I
open
have
the
to
multiverse
segue
though?
real quick. You know what the cherry on top to a fantastic movie that this was?
Mm.
Coming out of the theater with no one but A.K. Simmons coming back as J. Jonah Jameson. Dude, I cried. It was tears of joy
Yeah.
because everyone was like, "Oh, who are they going to get for J.
Never
Jonah
seen him this
Jameson?"
excited about a
Everyone,
Marvelous
everyone
Monday.
was talking about who. Yeah, everyone was talking about different people, and I'm like, I don't know how. I was like, now you know what? It has to be JK, and they did it. They did it.
Yeah.
They brought him back. I'm sure he was bald. I can live with that. He you can't replace J.K.
Yeah. And what a
Simmons.
cliffhanger, right? Putting out
Oh
that everyone knows his
yeah,
identity. And it was like,
And then
oh
the
my
movie
God, where'd
ends.
they go for
yeah,
this?
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
like
yeah.
it was the
It's like,
perfect, like,
yo.
okay, we wondered where you were going. Like now we're like, fuck. Now I really want to know, like, what you
Yeah.
like. For me, the end of the movie was like, this is why I love Marvel. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
again, like I said at the start of today's show, we weren't sure, we didn't know, and then they end that movie like that, and Peter Parker is Spider Man. You're like, boom, end credits,
Yeah.
and you're like, what motherfuckers?
That
You
battle
mentioned,
where Mysterio takes him through that trip,
mm,
that was incredible. I love that scene.
Yeah.
mm.
That's probably one of the best
And when you see
scenes
it
in
in
a Spider-Man
IMAX as
movie.
well, when you see it in IMAX as well,
Incredible.
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's incredible. We mentioned the multiverse there, Ken.
Hmm.
Was it such a clever thing? I have this chat with people, Marvel fans all the time. One of the cleverest things they ever done, because when you open up the multiverse in the movie realm, it gives you unlimited options to what you can do. We saw it in the last Spider-Man
Hmm.
movie, every Spider-Man. Would you do you think it's a clever thing from Marvel? Because we all know it exists in the comic book realm, and me and Sash and Neil talk about this all the time. You can't put everything in the comics in the movie.
Hmm.
But with soon as the second in any movie, whether it's DC, whether it's Marvel, the second you mention the word multiverse, you open the book. It's an open book.
Yeah.
You're like, well, we can
Yeah.
release this movie and we can do that, and he's in that universe. And Andrew Garfield's already said, I want to make another Spider-Man film. Well, you can, because you can do it
Hmm.
in your Earth. Was it a pure genius move from Marvel saying, hey, when like sachets are like, holy fuck, they're doing it. They're giving us a multiverse. In your opinion, pure genius move?
I think it was inevitable. I think it came too soon,
Okay,
in
why
my
is that?
opinion. Because what you did then is what happened by having a multiverse is after Endgame, we needed to establish what characters we're going to see moving forward in terms of the Avengers and who's your core going to be. What the multiverse did was just give us a lot of separate films, which tried to give some connectivity but didn't. And it's the worst phase for like your post-credit scenes because it opened up the door too wide too quickly and it then took away consequence. So at the end of Endgame, Tony Stark dies.
Mhm.
Captain America goes back. Now the multiverse is here. Doesn't matter if they die. We can bring in another one. Doesn't matter what happens to that character. So your consequence and threat is zero now because you can just replace anyone at any time with a variant. So therefore, your villains and your destination of where you want in each movie has lost some gravitas. And so I think it actually personally came a little bit too early. I think they could have
And then you flip it
introduced,
and Doomsday, Captain America,
yeah, yeah,
back,
but I
coming
think
back.
if they could have introduced that later in phase four. And I think
Okay.
they just came a little bit too early and just too wide. Um, that's in retrospect. At the time, I didn't really think about it, but I think when you have a look at all the projects, and we'll touch on this, but the worst thing that ever happened to Marvel was Disney Plus because
Oh, interesting,
what
interesting. Go for it, my man.
yeah,
I'm interested to hear this.
basically what happened is Disney are like, we want our own streaming platform. We need content. What sells? Marvel sells. We need more Marvel content. And what happened from going to two or three, maybe two films a year, sometimes three of quality Marvel movies, we got Marvel content, which is all your shows and movies. And what happened is they lost the reins. Kevin Feige was so stretched with all these different projects that had to hit Disney Plus. And obviously we had COVID as well,
True.
which impacted a huge amount of shows. They lost, for lack of better word, creative control. So
I see what you done there. I
yeah,
like it. I like tune into the Creative
creative
Control
control.
podcast. You can find it on all your apps.
Yeah, so and that's what happened. It got too big too quickly, and so therefore the direction wasn't there. So that's why when you go back and look at Phase Four, it's all disconnected. And then they tried to do a scramble project of trying to then bring things back in. Doomsday's going to seems to be that point, but they completely lost control. And you can see that when you hear interviews with the writers. Writers never read the comics. They weren't
Mm.
talking to other creative teams. What are you doing in your show? What are we doing in our show? It was all completely separate projects and people without the passion for the characters and the stories. So it was completely disjointed. And yes, we got some individually
Mm.
great movies in there, but there's no cohesion throughout phase four. And that's its biggest issue because it was such a part of phase one to three.
That's
Okay.
right. I mean, when you watch one to three, the core focus is the gems, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah, I mean,
standouts. Yeah.
Hmm.
they're the standouts before, and the other thing I might to add to what Ken just said, Kevin Feige's one guy, all right? If you're working on 3 films a year and that's your standard, that's fine. But then the minute it's like 12
TV
things,
shows.
you're gonna
Yeah.
lose focus. So what he did quite clearly and evidently, he entrusted people that he trusted to carry the baton into these projects. For example, with James Gunn, he trusted James Gunn to give us the Guardians free. He didn't mess about with that script. That was all James Gunn.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, whether you like him or hate him, I liked Thor Ragnarok. A lot of people did. A lot of
Love it.
people even got on board with Thor because of that movie. But what happened was
No,
with Thor Ragnarok,
no.
when they wrote the script, the foundations of the story, the villains, everything was already there before Taika Waititi joined the project.
Hmm.
Um, the script was already there. So when he joined, obviously he added his humor, which is very much him, but the story was there. With Love and Thunder, there were no other writers. This was purely a Taika Waititi movie where he took the baton and went wild with it. Um, you know, they obviously Disney wanted to make it about Lady Thor because that's where they're going with their films. So they picked one of the worst storylines for the Marvel fans in the comics, which could have been a good storyline. Let's face it, the real problem is why is she called Lady Thor? She's Jane Foster. Isn't that more powerful that she's her own identity rather relying on, do you know what I mean?
Agreed.
The dude,
Mm.
when calling herself Thor makes no sense. Yeah, I
Because
mean,
that's his name.
I get it if
Yeah,
people,
that's
It's
his
not. It's
actual.
not a title.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
his
yeah, I
it's
get
name.
it.
not.
It's his
It's
it's
like
his
10 people
freaking
could be
name.
Batman. That's the
Yeah,
mantle.
yeah.
Thor's not the mantle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thor's his birth name, man.
yeah.
So she's Jane Foster with the power of Thor, and that's cool. They could have made a gag
Mm.
of her trying to find out her fucking
Yeah, but
name,
then I think
right?
you go down the route of like they did in say like the Flash TV show when you gave everyone was a speedster, and
Yeah, yeah, but
you go down
yeah,
that
yeah,
rabbit
but,
hole.
but I'm talking in terms of the story that they had. There's loads of things they could have done that, but they wanted to keep that name just to piss people off. Well, I'm sure they thought they weren't, but to drive their point, which makes no sense. But so you had that. The other thing was you had people, like Ken said, not reading the comics and stuff because they were told to not read the
Hmm.
comics.
Yeah.
By the people, not Kevin
How
Feige.
pivotal do you think that is, though, boys? Because Ken, I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw the episode that we dropped on Friday, the Star Trek one,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and you go in the comments, and everyone's like, "This isn't Star Trek, this is." But when you watch the interview, the guy that we interviewed, Eric, he was like, "I didn't grow up a Star Trek fan. I never watched it. I'm putting a new."
Hmm.
He was told to put a new spin on something. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Sash makes a great point. Maybe that was Marvel going, "Hey, look, we need something fresh. We want something. We don't want you to look back at the. It's great that we all look back at nostalgia and we love it.
Yeah.
But like they're like honestly, you go read the comments on that Star Trek episode. Everyone's like,
That
"This
that
isn't
was
Star Trek.
more
This isn't what I
initiative,
know."
but that was more initiative from Disney, not
Mm.
really Marvel. Because if it was Kevin Feige, he'd go back to the source material, which he has done.
How important is it, do you think, though, boys? Obviously, post Endgame and going into what we now, as we're coming up to 2026, like Ken said earlier, I think it's flipped back now, and we're going to get more to quote unquote what we know as Marvel.
Hmm.
Do you boys think that post Endgame and going into we'll go Shang-Chi, Black Widow, Doctor Strange, Love and Thunder, Black Panther, Wakanda? Do you think they were thinking, right, let's try. There's nothing wrong with. I said it in the Star Trek episode. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion. There has to come a time in the timeline, no pun intended,
Hmm.
that you try something new. I
Oh
said this
yeah,
on
that
the,
would
I
be a
said this
great
to I
show.
said this to Eric on the Star Trek episode. I
Yeah,
said, look, we all grew up with Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, the original Star Trek. He said, look, we've come in with wanting to give you something. We know that it's Star Trek. We know that, but we're now in 2026, and we want to get in a new generation of fans.
Mhm.
So with Marvel, bear in mind from where Iron Man 1 was to Endgame, kids weren't even born when Iron Man 1. So my point is, do you think there comes a stage in movie, whether it be Marvel, DC, Star Trek, Star Wars, and we might have different opinions on it, Ken, to get your view on it. Do you think there comes a time where that beginning point has to start? There was somewhere back in time where Captain Kirk was Star Trek, and there was a generation that grew up with that. There was a
Mhm.
point where Luke Skywalker was the main Jedi. There was a generation that grew up with that. All three of us are sitting here. Ray comes along. She's that generation. Is that a case for Marvel going, let's try something new
Mhm.
and let's
yeah,
do
for
it?
sure.
Do you think
Yeah,
that was a thing?
they had to give us new characters.
Yeah,
Because the main Avengers team, it was getting old and they're kind of separated from Endgame. So we had to have the new characters. I what they didn't do is they didn't look at the characters and think, how is that going to form an Avengers team?
yeah,
Mhm.
So it was about how they introduced each character in what order. And the main thing about phase four was there's no cumulative point. So for
Nope.
every phase
Mhm.
movie, there was an Avengers movie in there which brought people together. Nothing was brought together in phase four, which is why it felt so divided. So it
No.
wasn't about introducing new characters. It was about not trying to help people understand how they might be connected and where they were headed. So, it involved a lot of origin stories, which is what you're going to get with new characters. But then when you had sequels like Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, and stuff like that, they missed opportunities to bring it back to a point.
To
yeah.
what you know,
Or,
There
yeah.
was
or,
no
or yeah,
anchor. There was no anchor point. Like
there's no
for
anchor
example,
character,
yeah.
really.
For
No.
example, they bigged up Kang so much, right?
Mm.
If they were going to do that, Kang should have been all of these movies somehow in some kind of cameo, having be a different variant, looking on, what I mean, or
Hmm.
whatever, scheming or whatever. They should have done that. So everyone be like, oh, okay, so he's going to be the next big bad or whatever. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You had like stuff from different timelines and stuff, and even characters went to different timelines. The only people that dealt with Kang was Loki and Ant-Man. You know what I mean? And and Ant-Man dealt with him more, and it was like, well, it would have been cool. It would have been cool if we seen Kang show up in Spider-Man or
Hmm.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, which dealt with the multiverse and
Yeah.
stuff.
But that was
I
one of
mean,
their biggest mistakes. They
yeah,
had Ant-Man beat Kang.
yeah,
So how is your Kang you're going to be your big bad for
yeah,
the Kang dynasty? Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
this
yeah,
one guy took him out. His other variants might be more powerful, but his portrayal as Kang I didn't have a problem with. It
yeah.
was like, but it was the way that the
Oh
character
yeah,
was
he was
dealt with.
fantastic.
It's
Mm.
yeah, it was just completely disjointed. And because you had TV and movies, it was so much
You had a
more
lot of
to
TV as
Yeah,
connect.
well. A lot of
But we had
TV.
amazing stuff. We had Loki, which was
Mm.
fantastic. WandaVision.
One
Um,
Division was one of the best things. Me and Sash argue about this.
yeah,
Probably
no,
one of
I
the
loved
best
it.
things from Marvel I've ever
Mhm.
watched. Ever.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. But then we had characters like Echo. Eh, We don't need an Echo TV show. We don't need a Secret Invasions one. That can be a subplot in a bigger movie. They just tried too much content. They were going for like three movies, three TV shows a year. And
Mm.
it's like, they've come out and they've recognized that was a mistake. They pushed too hard too quickly and they lost control because they were just trying to get the content out. It was about subscribers. We have to get subscribers, in competition with Netflix. And that's where it fell. That's why the quality fell. The production times were rushed. There was not enough time to delve into the art, the effects, which is why, there's a lot of dodgy effects. Look at that eye on the front of like Doctor Strange at the end of Multiverse of Madness. There's so many things where you're just like, looks like they filmed that in like 10 minutes and just, did a rush job on it.
Yeah, and they kind of just assumed because it was Marvel, it was going to be good.
It
And
was
you're
going to be
like,
fine,
yeah,
yeah. But
you
the
can't live on.
quality, they'd set such a high bar for themselves,
Mm,
they lost sight of that. And
yeah.
but saying that, like we said, there's some absolute gems throughout there, and it's a shame because when you look back, you just think phase four. But when you actually look at individual projects, you're like, well, that was pretty good. Well, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. But because it didn't connect and didn't lead anywhere, you don't feel like it was a good phase.
Mm. Let's talk about, boys, some of the things in Phase 4. Sash, I know you're going to have some strong views on a couple of these. Just going through a little bit of Phase 4. Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals. Like, it comes back to what Ken just said. They gave us movies. I didn't mind Black Widow, Sash. I know you've got some strong views on it. Shang-Chi, I can take it or leave it. Eternals, I really didn't get on with. I didn't see the point of it. Again, I think they tried to cram a lot of something in a movie that didn't really need to be there. In
I
my opinion,
yeah,
I like it
I
wasn't
didn't.
bad, but for
Yeah.
me, Shang-Chi, I'd stash Black Widow,
So
even though
with
Doctor
these
Strange, the
three,
Multiverse of Madness, I think they completely fucked that up. I thought they could have done that so much better. And I think now, when you think about it and you hear what Ken just said, you're kind of like, yeah, they just rushed all these films because, and then you
it's
do
really
think,
funny. You named a few that I actually didn't mind.
yeah, but again, oh, this is why we love
Yeah,
doing this because it
yeah,
splits
yeah, yeah.
opinion, But I know
I,
I
I, I
liked Black Widow, and I know
yeah,
you
yeah.
absolutely
Yeah,
hated that
I
film.
mean, I really like Shang-Chi personally.
Yeah,
Mm.
same.
I thought it was really good. I really loved that we had Andy Lau as the Mandarin.
Hmm.
Hmm.
All right, I really like. Is it Tony Lau or Andy Lau? The guy from Infernal Affairs.
Tony, I think. I'll
I want to
double
get it
check it.
right.
Bear with us, listeners. Everyone is on Google right now.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the bloody cast list? Normally, when you type in a movie, the first thing that comes up is the cast list.
Yeah,
But
I didn't mind
Yeah, it's
Shang-Chi.
Tony Lung.
Obviously,
It's Tony Lung.
yeah,
Tony,
Tony
yeah,
Lung.
I didn't
Tony Lung.
mind it. It was okay.
Yeah, no, I really liked.
But then I liked Iron
Okay,
Fist,
there's a
and a
double-edged
lot of people
sword
didn't
there.
like that.
There's a double-edged sword there because the Mandarin is Iron Man's big bad. And
Hmm.
you're telling me we could have had a showdown between
Mm.
RDJ and Tony Lung?
And now you give it to us. Yeah, you give us
Yeah,
it after
it's
the
like,
horses
come on,
bolted.
guys, come on,
Yeah.
guys. But I really did enjoy Shang-Chi. I thought it was true to its origins. I know some people had a problem with the Ten Rings, the way they were portrayed, because they wanted to have it as actual rings and not amulets. But
Mhm.
you know what I mean? I didn't mind the
Was
change.
that
I
different
get
to the comics? Did I read? Did they fuck that up? Something different from the
no, they
comics
just
to
changed it from
Okay.
rings to amulets, you
Right,
know,
I'm with you.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
because obviously we just had like rings and things, you know what I mean, with other stuff. So they changed it, creative license. Didn't bother me, to be quite honest.
Why did you hate Black Widow so much?
But before I get to that, I didn't mind the Eternals. I personally
Oh,
felt
I liked Eternals.
I really liked Eternals. I felt it should have been longer, so more characters got their
That's the one that
screen
should have been a
time.
series.
That should have been a
that would have
series.
made sense.
It would have made a
Hmm.
lot more sense.
Yeah.
And obviously there is connectivity there because they explain what Galactus is and what what's his face? Kurt Russell was and stuff like that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So it had its place. It does have its place in the cosmic side of the MCU, which will get explored even more so moving forward, I would have thought. But it's an important film, The Eternals. But people, obviously people don't realize that yet because, again, it needed time to grow. I think a TV series would have served it a lot better. But then don't get me wrong, like I love Angelina Jolie in a film, but what the fuck did she do in this film other than stand there? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If they emphasized more on her, you know what I mean? Not even give her more screen time, but
Explain the character more would
yeah,
have been
Yeah.
nice.
yeah, that's
Best
right.
representation of a speedster put to film.
Yes,
Absolutely
I
phenomenal
agree.
in this movie.
Yeah, there were a lot of good things about it that I liked. I think the biggest thing about Eternals, though, it was a different tone compared to the rest of the MCU. They
Mm.
went for like like a Lord of the Rings kind of vibe.
Yeah,
These guys have been
they went for the
yeah,
sport.
more
They went for the
serious.
whole of let's be serious and really explain this to
Yeah,
you. Let's not
yeah,
give
yeah.
you a lot of action. Let's
And,
give
and
you
yeah,
explanations.
and Marvel at this point haven't been known to do that tone because you've got an audience that expect a certain way the
Yeah.
movies are.
Yeah,
But
genre of movie, yeah.
if you rewatch Eternals, I'm pretty sure you'd get a lot more out of it with that in mind. But
Mm.
I do think, yeah, should have been a series.
Yeah. Let's
But
get
back
to
to
Black.
Black
Yeah,
Widow.
we've got about 15 minutes left. This
Okay,
might overrun. This is
Black Widow.
try and get this into 15 minutes.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Catch my full panning on the Black Widow review at Creative Control,
Mhm.
where you will see me go on full blast on why that sucks and
I
is
didn't mind it,
possibly
you know.
one of the worst action films I've ever seen in my life.
I didn't mind it.
It was the wrong probably the right film at the wrong time, if that's the right way to do it. You don't do a film after a character's died.
Yeah.
That was total
Yeah,
misstep.
that's a good point. Yeah.
So again, the stakes. This is where it comes back to the stakes. There's no
It's
stakes.
not even it's not even
And
just that. It's a fact of okay, she's finally got her spin-off movie, even though it's after she died or whatnot, kind of
That
thing.
was more to get her sister involved, wasn't it? And
Yeah, yeah, but that's
that's lack of
also
foreplay. That's lack of planning
yeah,
but that's
because all those
also
characters were
why
needed.
yeah,
but
But
that's
instead of putting that
also
movie after Winter Soldier or whatever it is,
yeah.
yeah,
and now it's like, oh, okay, we need a replacement for Black Widow.
yeah.
Oh, let's do another movie and create the
But
next
that's
version of her.
also why I hate
Yeah.
it so much because she's finally got her standalone movie. And already they're trying to replace her in her own movie. And not
Hmm.
only are they trying to replace her in her own movie is an ensemble piece where she's not even the lead of her own movie.
Hmm.
She's in the movie, but then how much screen time does she have compared to everybody else? You've
Hmm.
got Red Guardian, you've got her mother, you've got her sister. It's an ensemble movie. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's like going to see a Wolverine movie and actually it's an X-Men movie where you know what I mean? The guy's hardly in it. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It's bullshit. So, and then on top of that, okay, you have this adventure with her and good conquers evil, etc. And then in a post credit scene, they remind us she's fucking dead. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. That's not even how movies are made. Good movies are made. That's trash. And you can go, yeah, but no, with your but it's Marvel quality, man, just basic storytelling
Yeah, but then
101
I thought the
thrown out
same
the
about
window.
Captain America: Brave New World.
Um, but yeah, with um with Black Widow, I just felt it was just weak sauce, man, across the board. How can you have Taskmaster? Everyone been waiting for Taskmaster for a long time. They had him in the Spider-Man games and everything. He's clearly a male in the trailers and in all the action scenes, but then to sex change him last minute, it's like, oh wait, that's not the same guy. That's visually not the same guy.
Mm.
Oh, do you know what I mean? It made
Yeah, I get you.
no
I get you.
sense.
I
Made
get you.
no sense. It was
I
bonkers,
get you.
man.
Yeah.
And there's more reasons why I hate that movie. Again, go see Creative Control episode. I'll go, but those are three reasons why that movie's gutter trash and the worst thing ever. And I'm so glad she sued them and won. Okay,
Yeah.
because they fucked her over. They fucked her over on top of that. It's like, by the way, this franchise that we were going to give you, well, we're not going to pay you. You know,
She won a
so
lot of
that
money.
they they've so trash. And what was also even worse was she didn't even know. Like, fair enough, she didn't know she died in Endgame because they filmed multiple kind of things. But she at least she clearly thought she was going to get a Black Widow free, free movies, whatever. They could have had a free movie Black Widow throughout of phase 1 to 3. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
as a side thing, and just have it be expanding the universe kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because she dies in it, but
Yeah.
don't show that she dies in these Black Widow films.
Hmm.
Because if someone's
Mm.
watching it in all, like the Han Solo movie, I'll give you an example. Han Solo, same kind of thing. They killed him off in a movie before, then they do a Han Solo prequel. Did they show in that Han Solo prequel that he dies in the future? No. Do you know why? Because it's a fucking dumb thing to do. It's fucking stupid. Movie sucks balls. Worst film I've seen in my life. Lies. That's a lie. It's
No,
it's up there.
Superman 2025. Shut up, you idiot.
No, no. I mean, it's not bad. It's not as bad as Love and Thunder. It is not the worst Marvel movie.
I,
God
I
bless
will
you,
Um,
Ken, for
watch.
saying that.
I will gladly watch Superman 2025 again over the Black Widow.
Widow, yeah.
Do you know what they could have done with all this Marvel stuff when they come back with? I've always thought this Phase 4 and Phase 5. Bring back Agents of Shield and
Mm,
have that run along simultaneously because that has got so much scope. And like like you were saying earlier, Ken, oh, they gave us TV shows, they gave us movies. Put it all in Agents of Shield. It was weekly. They were
hmm.
fantastic. It ran along simultaneously. You knew where you kind of were.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of stayed with the timeline
Yeah.
generic
Bring back
mostly.
if you don't if you want to give us content, give us Agents of Shield.
Yeah, and this is where the connectivity comes in again. So all those post-credit scenes, nothing led to nothing.
No,
Hmm.
they were all
Shang-Chi,
comedy ones, really.
yeah, Shang-Chi, he was with Wong and Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel talking
Hmm.
about the rings. Nothing happened. At the end of Shang-Chi, they're getting the Ten Rings back together. The group, the woman's doing nothing happened. What else? We had Eros and Pip recruited at the end of Eternals. Harry Styles, nothing happened. Blade joined the MCU at the end of Eternals.
Never gonna
My
happen.
voice,
Yep.
nothing happened, and that movie's going to be cancelled. Venom, obviously, at the end of No Way Home, the symbiotes left.
Didn't
Nothing's
do
ever
it.
happened to that.
Yeah.
It still might. Secret Wars still could have that. Just everything. End of Doctor Strange. He gets the third eye. We have what's her name? Charlize Theron show up. That never led to anything. There's just so much. They just set up things without knowing what was next. And
Mm.
that's where it has. And now Doomsday's never going to touch any of these things ever again. Do you know what I mean? So
No,
it's
Doomsday's gonna be a complete reset, redo.
yeah.
Let's
Zeus, Lord of Thunder. It's like there's just so much nonsense out there that they just had no idea where to go.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Let's briefly, just quickly look at phase five briefly. You had things like the Marvels. And when I watch things like that, um, I get stick for some of the TV shows that I say
I
I
didn't mind
like.
it.
And yeah, but that for me, TV show,
Well, hang on, wait, what are we talking about?
the Marvels.
The
That
Marvels.
was that was you know what? That's probably up there with Black Widow. That was terrible. It was there was only one good thing about it,
It
and that
ended.
was that was the girl, Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
Hmm.
She was the standout. If she wasn't in that movie, the only thing good about that movie would have been the end credit sequence.
It was for
End
me,
credit
I
scene.
can only describe it as Marvel's version of High School Musical.
It was.
I didn't
It
like it
was.
at all.
Me neither. I
I
hated
hated
it.
it. I
It
it's
was. It
it's
was
up there with
absolute
it's
trash.
up there with
But
Ragnarok
I
for me.
can't. But I don't like it so much. I've not gone back to it. I can't remember it. I remember things I don't like about it, but
Mm.
I don't remember it. So I cannot give a cohesive reason
Oh,
as to
good word.
why.
Cohesive's been thrown out on a Monday,
Yeah,
mate.
I can't go down the rabbit hole just there. But
Yeah.
I
What
remember
about Moon
watching it.
Knight? Did you guys like Moon Knight?
Yes,
Didn't
loved
mind
it.
it. I liked it.
Loved it.
I
It
like
got
Moon
shit. It
Knight.
got shit on, but I really liked it.
I,
Did
I
it?
Yeah, a lot of people hated it.
Really? Oh, I
Yeah, a lot
didn't.
of
I
people
didn't.
hate. But just before
Yeah.
we finish, and we're gonna get into this as the weeks go on, how fucking good is Wonder Man?
I haven't watched it yet.
I enjoyed it.
All
I
right, with
enjoyed
no
it. I
spoilers,
did
then we won't
enjoy
say
it.
nothing.
Yeah.
Ken, you are in for a treat, my friend.
You know
This
what?
is some of the best, I reckon, one of the best things Marvel have ever done.
This
I love
is
it.
this is kind of when I look back. Obviously I prioritized certain things over the last year in terms of what I've
Mhm.
been watching, and I made sure I watched all the Marvel movies. But the TV shows I kind of let by, like Ironheart. I never watched.
I know it was good.
Yeah,
I didn't
same.
mind it. I didn't mind
And
it.
there's I found out about the big reveal at the end about who the villain
Hmm.
was.
Hmm.
I
Um,
don't tell me.
I won't tell
Oh,
you. I won't go into
you're in for a treat,
spoilers.
bro.
And this one again, because I looked at Wonder Man, I saw the trailers, and I was like, you know what? For me, I don't need to rush to see it because it doesn't seem like it feeds
But
into anything. Do you
people
know what
shit
I
all
mean?
over
So again,
Ironheart, and
it's one of
I enjoyed it.
yeah. So again, it's one of those that I kind of put on the back burner because it's like I'll get to it. But Phase 4 also delivered Werewolf by Night, which was
Yeah, that was
fantastic.
cool.
But again, is a very isolated piece.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then Black Panther.
Quantumania,
Attorney at Quantumania, that was but
that was a
She-Hulk, I personally
clusterfuck.
really liked She-Hulk. I know a lot of people
Oh,
didn't.
don't get lucky,
Oh,
Neil. You're lucky, Neil, ain't it?
Yeah, no, I dug it. I thought that was something different for me. And what else was there?
started off
Black
good.
Panther. Black Panther was divisive. I think it
Deadpool and
was.
Wolverine was phase five.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Phase 5 was better.
Yeah.
Black Panther, mate, the one you're
But
talking about in phase four, then, Neil, Ken, sorry, 885, I think $859 million, that made.
yeah. No, that was always going to be a challenge. They made the decision to recast.
Risky
Sorry,
move,
not
that, I thought.
recast, and go with that. And I
Carry on
think
how they were going, yeah.
if it was
Risky.
a different director, I think they would have gone a different way. If somebody else was writing and directing it, but because Coogler had done the first and his relationship with uh, Chadwick, he was never going to recast. And I understand it, and I didn't mind the way they went with it. But again, it was one of those, Black Panther has passed, and nothing from the Avengers. Not a whisper, not a boo, not a bouquet of flowers, not a wreath. And it's just like, why is there no recognition?
Yeah.
and again that shows the disconnection. I don't expect all the Avengers to show up in a Black Panther movie, but there's no
It needs to
recognition.
acknowledge it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's lack of creative control.
Indeed it is.
See what I've done there. Boys, it's been a good hour. I really enjoyed this one. Like Ken said at the start, let us know in the comments if you want us to go through every single film after
Do
Spider-Man.
it.
Oh, you lot are trying to kill me.
Commit,
But
man.
Ken, tell
Commit.
us what's coming up in your life, my man. Obviously, you've got creative control. You've got the amazing wrestling. Wrestling is awesome. Congratulations on your live Royal Rumble feed. I said
Yeah.
to you in the group chat, I enjoyed watching your show more than I did the Royal Rumble.
Oh, appreciate it.
But
Thank you very much.
what's coming up for you, bro? Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, do two shows. So I've actually just finished editing an episode we actually record before Christmas. I've already got around to editing it now, which is top 10 movies of 1992. So that'll be dropping in the next kind of 48 hours, depending on when this episode is going to go out.
This will go in the next 48 minutes.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So the next 48 hours, you'll have a new episode from Creative Control, top 10 movies of 1992. Basically, we do a ranking system, a draft pick. So whoever's on the show, if there's 6 people, we have 10 spots, which means everybody gets to nominate one, and then we do a voting system to fill out the top 10. So it becomes quite competitive and is really strategic. So they're always fun episodes. And we'll be doing more of those at 93, 94, and the 90s are going to get really, really difficult. And then we'll start doing some more theme shows where we're going to talk about if we had creative control, what next? And we'll look at some certain franchises about what we're going to discuss and how we would treat
I
certain
like that
franchises
a
and
lot.
stuff like that. So that's going to be all coming this year. So the wrestling, yeah, wrestling is awesome. So if you're a WWE fan, head over to again YouTube, TikTok, all the channels. We are there, and yeah, I did a live stream for the Royal Rumble on Saturday,
So
and I got
good.
over
So good.
25,000 views. So I was really, really chuffed with that. So thank you for everybody who watched that. We're actually going live tonight. So we're going to
Oh.
do a live Royal Rumble review.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were going live to watch Raw at like 1 a.m.
Oh,
I
no,
know
no,
you've got a
no.
baby, Ken, but this is
I've
taking the
got a
piss.
baby now. No, we're going to do a live review show tonight at 8:45 p.m.
Oh, okay.
So when this goes live, by the time it finishes, you'll be able to find us
I'll
on
be tuned in, yeah.
on YouTube and TikTok. And yeah, so at Wrestling is Awesome, at Creative Control. Find us on all your YouTube and podcast platforms. Thank you
Awesome, my
very
man.
much.
Awesome, my man. Yeah, keep up the great work with all of them, man. The wrestling stuff, I absolutely, I really, really do enjoy. Anyone wants to check us out, really appreciate some of the views the videos are getting now. It really like the feedback we're getting, the comments that we're getting, and then like the feedback I get personally from if it's friends or family or just random people just DMing us on Twitter or Facebook or wherever they can. They love what we do, and I never say this enough. We are really grateful. We've been going just over a year now. Really grateful. Me, Sash, Neil, Ken, anyone that comes on, we love doing this. We're geeks. We love talking about all this stuff. But just jump onto YouTube, type in "Completed It Podcast." Just hit that subscribe button, the like, all the good stuff. Instagram, you can find us. Facebook, and you can find us on X at Completed It Pod. If you are a fan of the show 24. We have a very special guest coming up in the next week or so that myself and Sash will be sitting down with. Neil will be back next week to give us more Marvel chat with Neil. He is away this week. Ken will be coming back on, no doubt. But really, really appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you for joining us for a marvelous Monday. Let us know in the comments if you want us to go through every single film post Endgame. We'll do it if we must, but I really, really do appreciate it. Ken, thank you so much for joining us, my man. I know you're busy. I know
Pleasure.
you've got a little bubba, mate. So really do
Yeah.
appreciate you taking the time to keep up the hard work, mate. Really doing well. Creative Control, go and check it out. Go and check out Wrestling is awesome. Trust me, it is awesome. You will really, really, really enjoy it if you are a WWE fan. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Till next time, stay safe.